Concerning extraterrestrials and UFOs, a NASA leader suggests UFOs could be aliens. He says, "We hope it's not an adversary here on Earth." Nelson said that, "I've talked to those pilots and they know they saw something and their radars locked onto it." Jerry Dunleavy, Yahoo News. The leader of NASA hinted at the possibility that some UFOs might be extraterrestrial life forms or beings from an altered universe this week. Bill Nelson, who has served as President Joe Biden's NASA administrator since May, said Tuesday he did not know for sure what some of the unidentified aerial phenomena, what we call UFOs, unidentified flying objects, seen by Navy pilots are. He said, however, that we hope it's not an adversary here on Earth that has this kind of technology, bringing up the topic of the search for alien life and the mystery of UFOs, unprompted after a back and forth about what would happen if a massive asteroid hit our Earth. So what would happen if there was an alien form much more advanced than us here on Earth? Anyway, he said, "Before we leave, I haven't even talked about the search for extraterrestrial life. What do you think we're doing on Mars? We're looking for life." This is what he said. "This is part of NASA's mission." And he goes on to say that's what this telescope is going to be looking for. There are other planets elsewhere that there is life. Nelson said near the end of the wide-ranging hour-long discussion. It was with Larry Sabato of the University of Virginia's Center for Politics. He says, "I know what you've seen is what those Navy pilots saw in 2004, and there have been some 300 sightings since then," he said. And Nelson said, "I've talked to those pilots, and they know they saw something, and their radars locked onto it. And then all of a sudden, it was here, and as you look down on the surface, and then it's there, as you pointed up." Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box. And let's remember that these objects are tracked by infrared very easily, and they're hyper velocity. We don't have such technology today. So he says, and they don't know what it is, and we don't know what it is. We hope it's not an adversary here on Earth that has this kind of technology, but it's something. And so this is a mission that we're constantly looking. Who is out there? Who are we? How did we get here? How did we become as we are? How did we develop? How did we civilize? And those are some conditions out there in a universe that has billions of other suns and billions of other galaxies. It's so large I can't conceive it, is what he said when he continued. Sabato tried to milk a definitive stance from the NASA administration, pointing to a May episode of 60 Minutes on UFOs and commenting that there was speculation about whether the sightings were caused by China or the Russians or what he called extraterrestrial intelligent beings. "What is your theory?" he asked Nelson. "You've heard a lot of options. Which one do you think is most credible if you choose one?" "I don't know the answer to that," Nelson said, "but I do know this, that my personal opinion is that the universe is so big, and now there are even theories that there might be other universes, and if that's the case, who am I to say that planet Earth is the only location of a life form that is civilized and organized like ours?" And the last NASA leader added, "Are there other planets and Earths out there? I certainly think so, because the universe is so big." Back in June, a long-anticipated but very brief assessment by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence discussed 144 reports of UFO originating from U.S. government sources between 2004 and 2021. 80 were observed with multiple different sensors, and most reports describe the UFOs as objects that interrupted pre-planned military training or other military operations. The ODNI report said a handful of the UFOs appeared to demonstrate advanced technology, and in 18 incidents described in 21 reports, observers reported unusual UAP, that is UFO, movement patterns or flight characteristics. The intelligence community warned that some UAP may be technologies deployed by China, Russia, another nation, or a non-governmental entity. ODNI said that UFOs would also represent, of course, a national security challenge if they are foreign adversary collection platforms or provide evidence a potential adversary has developed either a breakthrough or disruptive technology. The possibility of UFOs being of extraterrestrial origin was not discussed in this case. Navy pilots such as Commander David Fravor, Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, and former Lieutenant Ryan Graves, along with the former head of the U.S. government's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, Louis Elizondo, and a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, Christopher Mellon, all weighed in during the May episode of 60 Minutes to say that UFOs are real, though what exactly they are, there remains a mystery. That remains a mystery. They don't know what they are from, where they're from, who's behind them. Last year, videos from the Navy were released through the Freedom of Information Act that showed UFOs moving at incredible speeds and performing impressive aerial maneuvers. One of the videos was shot in November 2004. It was featuring the so-called Nimitz encounter, the Tic Tac UFO, while the other two, during which Navy pilots could be heard expressing disbelief, were shot in January 2015. All three UFO videos were captured by Navy FA-18 Super Hornets, and the Pentagon has been working to confirm the authenticity of a number of other UFO videos. John Brennan, who served as director for the Central Intelligence Agency under former President Barack Obama, alluded to the existence of UFOs on a podcast in December, saying that some of the phenomena we're going to be seeing continues to be unexplained and might in fact be some type of phenomenon that is the result of something that we don't yet understand. Former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe also said in a June interview that UFOs exist, adding they appear to display technology the United States does not possess and lacks the ability to defend against it. This is by Jerry Dunleavy, Yahoo News Unbended Reality. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Now we have evidence of, well, not evidence, but witnessing of UFOs and testimonies of UFOs all the way back to, of course, the Tully Papyrus of one of the pharaohs of Egypt. And he was even witnessing his fright and awe as the overlords of Egypt were landing over the Giza pyramids. And he called them the overlords of Egypt. Now you can imagine the pharaoh was considered a god among Egyptians, and this pharaoh was calling them, and quivering in his shoes, calling them the overlords, and they were coming, of course, from the heavens. The same thing with the Greek gods. The ancient Greek gods of Mount Olympus were supposedly extraterrestrials. Anyway, please leave your comments about this, and thank you for your support.